So hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Just to give you a heads up, like 30 seconds to a minute, just allow everyone else to join in and get situated. So kind of hold tight. We'll go through some quick housekeeping, little ground rules. You also can read them on the screen that you see right here. But again, hold tight for like a minute and we'll go ahead and jump into everything. Perfect. So for the sake of time, we can go ahead and jump into everything. Once again, welcome everyone. Thank you today. Welcome to the virtual college exploration for North Carolina and South Carolina students, sponsored by CACRAO and StriveScan. For today's webinar, you'll notice it is a Zoom webinar format, so just know that we cannot hear or see you. If you would like to interact with our guests and our panelists and guest speakers today, please use the Q&A function you will find at the top of your screen or the bottom of your screen. You can ask any kind of questions in through there. Please note that this session will be recorded and after a week, it will be available for you to view at a later point in time. And feel free to sign up for more sessions throughout the week and throughout this month as well. It can be found on www.cacro.org. At this point, I'm going to turn over to hear more information about App State. Now I'll turn over to Presley and Cam.
Hi there, friends. Thanks for joining us today. It's great to have you, and thanks for taking the time to learn a little bit more about App State. But my name is Presley Layton. I serve as one of the Associate Directors for Transfer Recruitment within the Online and Transfer Services Office at Appalachian State. And I'm joined by a couple of my friends. Sam Shireman is one of our program managers working from Western Piedmont Community College at one of our offsite centers there. So Sam is going to be able to answer your questions as we're going through the presentation. So definitely feel free to use that chat box and we'll take care of those for you as we go through. And Cam, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself as well?
Sure. So my name is Kim Thompson. I'm one of the transfer student mentors here at Appalachian State. So basically I help with, the Office of Admissions. I help y'all through the whole process of transferring here. I transferred myself in the fall of 2018 from a community college here in North Carolina. And I am a senior studying marketing with a minor in sociology.
Awesome. All right, so we will go ahead and get started, and Cam and I are going to be kind of going through this together. So as we mentioned, if you have questions as we go through this entire thing, please let us know. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. All right, so without further ado, so just to kick us off, just a little bit of background about where our location is, and Cam's going to elaborate on that in just a second. But App State has been named one of the top and best value colleges by America Forbes. We're definitely very proud of our institution. But the best part for you all as transfer students, as you're considering transferring to App State, is that we have a really strong reputation for being transfer friendly. And I'm just going to point out one little shameless plug up here in the top right-hand corner. We were named to the Transfer Honor Roll for Phi Theta Kappa. And we have been on this list for, I believe, 3 or 4 years now and working on our 4th or 5th year at this point. And this Transfer Honor Roll serves to showcase institutions nationwide that have a strong commitment to transfer pathways, support, and resources. So we're definitely very proud of that accolade. It's something that only 153 institutions nationwide can say this year. So definitely proud of that. And so we hope that we'll be able to support you in your journey as a transfer student to App State as well. But Kim, why don't you tell us a little bit about our location and some different spaces in our area?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see that big A that's kind of on the map of North Carolina. That's where we are. We're up in that top left corner of North Carolina. It's not far, no more than 3 hours to pretty much anywhere in the middle of the state. Wilmington, where I'm from, is a little bit further, but still, not too far for a weekend trip. We also have Nashville is about 2 hours from here, I think, and there's a couple places in Virginia that are not far. So even though we're kind of in that corner of North Carolina, there's still plenty to explore and plenty to do.
Definitely. And just to point out one more thing on here, you'll see these smaller block A's. Those signify our off-campus sites where we offer some of our programs that are classroom off-site based. through our App State Online program. So I'll give you a little taste of what those options are in just a minute. But over the course of the past 120 plus years since App was founded back in 1899, we have grown quite a bit since then. So we now have just about 20,000 students total. And about 90% of our student body are undergraduate students. So there's a heavy focus on undergraduate education here. And also for you all, as you're transferring to App State, if you're looking for an institution where you have a built-in kind of transfer community, if that's something that you're looking for, you can find that here. We have about 29% of our students that are transfer students at Appalachian. So that's a huge population here. So Cam, could you tell us a little bit about like what that was like for you to come into App State and have that significant number of transfer students on campus?
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe right now our percentage of like transfer population is about 25%, about a quarter of all of our students, right? Is that right?
29.
29. Okay. Of all of our students are transfer students. When I came in, it was about a third. And so even, regardless of which number it is, it was really helpful to me to have all of those transfer students here because I knew that there would be resources. I knew that there would be people like Presley that would be here to answer questions and help me through the process, and that were familiar with the process of transferring because it can get kind of complicated sometimes. And so knowing that those resources would be there was definitely really helpful for me.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Cam. And we'll kind of show you some of those different resources in a little bit that we are offering for while you're planning on transferring as well as after you're already here. So we'll go over those in just a little bit. But one thing that I'd like to point out before we move on is that our minimum GPA for any transfer student who is applying to App State, our minimum GPA requirement is a 2.25. You're welcome to take a look at those averages and middle 50% ranges for our accepted students. If you fall within those ranges, we highly encourage you to apply for scholarships as well. So I'll explain that process soon as well. But just keep in mind that 2.25 is that magic number that you're looking for to be able to apply. And Cam, what about telling us a little bit about maybe the class sizes and what that experience is like in the classroom for students?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see here on the slide, we have a 16:1 student to faculty ratio, which is really great. It means that there's plenty of faculty for each student, and that class size being about an average of 28 is also really great. So if you're transferring in, you'll probably be transferring into sophomore, junior, maybe senior level classes. And so even those classes are going to be potentially smaller than this. And so being able to have those small class sizes really does help create those relationships with your professors and with your faculty. Because, when it comes to needing a recommendation for an internship, or maybe you're thinking about applying to grad school, you have more personal relationships with those people instead of sitting in a sea of 500 students to, one classroom. And, sometimes there are classes like that. I think the biggest that I've ever had was like 150, and it was like an entry level class. And so there are a few that are big, but for the most part, once you pass those like prereq classes that everybody has to take, you get into much more personal size classes.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the longer you go, the smaller that they get typically. So thank you for shedding some light on that, Cam. I appreciate it. And also at App State, we have quite a bit to choose from in terms of programs of study. And different opportunities that lead to even more things that you can look forward to after you graduate with your bachelor's degree. So in App State, we have over 150 different programs offered on our main campus here in Boone, North Carolina. And all of those majors are housed within one of those 7 undergraduate colleges that you see listed here. And also, transfer students have a lot of great options to be honors students as well. So there are, credit hour and GPA requirements that are involved with this process to apply to some of these honors opportunities. But you can look at honors.appstate.edu to check out departmental honors, which it would be like related to your specific major or the honors college itself. Those options are available to transfer students. So please feel free to take a look at that at honors.appstate.edu. And also, if you choose to pursue a graduate education at App State as well, we have some wonderful programs offered through our graduate school, including accelerated admission programs, which means that you can start taking master's level courses during your senior year of undergraduate studies, not paying any additional cost for those master's courses, and then tack on maybe a year, possibly a year and a half, depending on the program, to complete that master's degree. So it'll save you a little bit of money and a little bit of time, but you can check out all of those different programs and those accelerated admission programs as well at graduate.appstate.edu.
I'll give you a little hint here. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go right ahead, Cam. Thanks.
I'll give you a little hint here. If there's a page that you're looking for, it's probably fill in the blank.appstate.edu. They're all.
Glad I'm not the only one who says that.
Yeah, that's a little, sneaky tip that you can probably use. So
definitely, yes, exactly. Thanks for that, Cam. That's perfect. All right, and then for App State Online, as I mentioned, you saw some of those smaller block A's on that North Carolina map earlier that signified our off-campus locations at which you can take some of our classroom-based programs through App State Online. So we offer 11 different programs through App State Online specifically, and you can see the delivery methods listed here beside each of these options. But you can check out all of these different programs, the admission requirements for each of them, all of the information about them all together at online.appstate.edu. Yet again, putting a logical word in front of .appstate.edu. And then from there, so once you kind of focus on a particular major that you're considering, you can kind of start that application process. And even if you're still deciding on a major, that is totally okay. We're here to help help you arrive to that decision anyway. So don't fret if you're kind of, just kind of thinking through what you're wanting to do. So we're here to support you through that. So we can work together to get you to that point. But just to kind of cover our application process, first, it's really important for us to offer kind of a description of who is a transfer student, and that will determine how you will apply. So just to quickly cover that, we consider a transfer student as any student who has already graduated from high school and who has attempted college credit after they've graduated high school. So like if you're taking dual enrollment classes, or maybe you're attending an early college, if you're planning to attend App State right after you graduate from high school or right after you graduate from the early college, you'll actually apply as a first year student. So feel free to check out our first year information sessions. But if you're a transfer student, again, graduated from high school, attempted credit after graduating high school, you'll apply in this manner. So we will be looking for 2 minimum requirements. So we already learned about that first one, the 2.25 is that magic number for the cumulative GPA, and that's based on all of your attempted coursework, regardless of whether it transfers or not. The second minimum requirement is 24 transferable credit hours. And we just need to be able to see at least a full semester of completed credit, and the rest of it can be in progress. So say, for instance, that this might be your first semester at your institution and you're planning on transferring in fall of 2021. Well, once you complete this semester, you can go ahead and apply, because that means you have a full complete semester of credit, and then the rest of your spring classes will be your in progress coursework. So if all of that adds up to 24 transferable credit hours, that allows us to go through this process and base your admission solely off of your college performance. So just to quickly cover this, we use the CFNC application for transfer admission. So that's College Foundation of North Carolina. So that's your very first step to apply. And the applications are open right now for all of our 2021 semesters. So you can choose which one that you're planning to apply for and go from there. But once you submit that online application via CFNC, it will trigger us to be able to send you an email that gives you access to what we call the My Mountaineer portal. That is where you will have all of your application details in one place, and that's where you'll be able to see your checklist as well. So within that My Mountaineer portal, you'll be submitting your $65 application fee. If you qualify for a fee waiver, then by all means, please use a fee waiver. You can email that to our office. And also your official college transcripts from every institution at which you've attempted credit. So we'll have to have separate transcripts coming from each institution specifically. And to count as official, they do have to come to us directly from the institution. So we can't accept those from students directly. And last but not least, I just want to mention that if you happen to fall beneath the 24 transferable credit hour requirement, we do have to have a little bit more information to go off of to be able to make a decision on your application. So in those situations, we would be looking for you to provide your high school transcript. And so again, that has to come directly to us from your high school, and your test scores as well. So SAT or ACT. Now, one quick thing to mention about that is that for the 2021 kind of application cycle, I guess you could call it. So for any student applying for any of those 2021 semesters specifically, the UNC system is currently test optional just for this year alone at this point. So you won't have to provide those if you're in that situation for this year specifically. So if you meet the 24 transferable credit hour requirement, though, you do not have to provide any high school or test score information whatsoever. And then last but not least, we do have some options for military students to apply, as well as App State Online students. It's a little bit different of a process, so that's why I kind of separated it. But military students apply as transfer students, and we definitely are a military-friendly and a transfer-friendly institution. We have our Veteran Center and our Plymouth Student Union and a number of resources for you all as you're going through your journey. But there are some additional required documents that you'll have to provide that are military-specific. An essay and a resume are highly encouraged because your experiences are a little bit different. And we understand that there are things and contexts that we need to be able to understand to make a good decision on that application. So we definitely encourage you to provide that for us so we can learn more about you. And definitely are some perks to applying as a military student as well. And then last but not least, if you are considering one of those 11 App State Online programs, step one is definitely to meet these transfer admission requirements that we've covered so far. But step two is to actually meet the program specific requirements. So again, if you visit online.appstate.edu, click on your whichever program that you're thinking of, and it will literally spell out everything that you need to know about what is required for admission into the program, including prerequisite coursework. So that kind of covers our application process. I know that was a lot of information at once. So please, if you have questions, let us know, and Sam will be taking care of those for you. All right, and going into some important dates as well, just wanted to cover first of all the FAFSA. So the free application for federal student aid, the 2021-2022 school year FAFSA is open right now. Every year FAFSA opens on October 1st. We highly encourage you to apply early because some of those funds can be first come, first serve. However, the priority date is March 1st to submit that, and about 70% of our students at App State receive some form of financial aid. Now for main campus applicants, we're just going to kind of go into some important dates for you all as well. So for transfer admission, we actually do not have deadlines because it's rolling admission until the class becomes full for whichever semester it is that you're applying for. So say that you're thinking about spring 2021, or spring semesters in general. October 15th is our suggested date to apply. But again, since it's rolling admission, if you're thinking about spring 2021 right now, by all means, go ahead and start that process. We just accept students until that class becomes full. So you definitely have time to apply. If you're thinking about a summer or a fall semester, we encourage February 1st is the date to apply. And for our decision turnaround time, it's actually pretty quick with this rolling admission process. So once you fully complete your admission application, and you'll know it when you see it because we will email to let you know that your application is fully complete, you can expect a decision within about 2 to 4 weeks from that time that you end up completing your admission application. Now, that moves us into the scholarship deadlines. So this is the only time a deadline actually does come into play for transfer students. And so to be able to be considered for our transfer specific scholarships as an incoming new student, you'll have to have a fully complete admission application by February 15th. The link to the scholarship application will appear in that My Mountaineer portal that we were talking about. And those the application usually opens in mid-January, and the deadline to apply for scholarships is March 1st. So as long as you're following those respective deadlines, you'll be considered for all of those transfer scholarships. And of course, we have current student scholarships that you can apply for after you've been here for at least a semester that you can consider both general and major specific. And last but not least, for App State Online students, it's also mostly a rolling admission process. It kind of depends on the program. There could be specific deadlines. So I encourage you again to look at online.appstate.edu to see those respective deadlines if there are some for that particular major major. But for spring programs at this point, apply as soon as you possibly can if you're thinking about this coming up spring semester. Otherwise, September and October are a pretty good timeline to apply, most likely September, because there are some October 1st deadlines mixed in there for App State Online. For fall programs, April would be a great time to start that admission process, but the final deadline is absolutely July 1st. And with the decision timeline for App State Online applicants, since it's a two-stage review process for university admission requirements and then the program-specific requirements, it's a little bit longer of a process to hear back because of that two-stage process. So about 4 to 8 weeks after you've completed your application, you'll be hearing back from our team about that particular program. So all of these dates, by the way, are on our website, so please make sure to check that. But just wanted to kind of cover some of those specific dates so far. And I'm going to turn it over to Cam in just a second to talk about a little bit of our housing processes. But just to quickly cover this, just a little bit of background info about the housing process for transfer students specifically. Anyone who comes to App State less than a year from the time that they graduated from high school is guaranteed and required to live on campus. Transfer students that are more than a year out of high school when they transfer to App State, it's actually first come, first serve. So you have to apply. And so the best way to have a good chance of getting on-campus housing as a transfer student is to apply for admission early, confirm your enrollment early after you've been accepted so that you can get housing or get access to the housing application. And usually the housing application opens in early February for those fall semesters. So just a heads up about that. But I'm going to let Cam tell us a little bit about some transfer specific opportunities with housing.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Presley said, if you are less than a year out of high school, then you're guaranteed and required to have on-campus housing. That's kind of the situation that I was in. I did a dual enrollment situation before transferring here. So I lived on campus my first year. I currently live off campus. But if you are interested in living on campus as a transfer student, like she said, applying early is key. And then a couple of the opportunities, like there are spaces for transfer students and living in, regular residence halls on campus, but there's also a couple of transfer specific opportunities. So we have here what we call an RLC, or a residential learning community. Where people that share a common, major goal, life thing, whatever it is, are all kind of put together and live in the same space. And so we have a couple here for transfer students. So the first one is going to be for transfer students in general. If you want to live around and study around other transfer students that you have that in common with, this is for you. It's a really great opportunity. I know we have several other transfer student mentors who have done it and loved it. And then we also have, since Appalachian started as a teacher's college, we do have one for transfer students that are education majors. And so if you're going into education, as your career, as your major, and you're also a transfer student, then that would be a great opportunity for you as well, because then not only do you have in common with all these people that you're a transfer student, you're also all education majors, so you're probably going to be in some of the same classes, you're going to have the same career goals, the same study habits, so just having that in common definitely helps create a sense of community, so you don't feel like you're like the outsider. So I would definitely recommend looking into that if you are trying to live on campus.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much, Cam. Those are some really cool opportunities for transfer students. For instance, we also have a newer opportunity for transfer students that just started this past fall. It's called the Watauga Residential College, and it's been around for quite some time, but it has recently become available to transfer students. And so first year and transfer students are able to join that community as well. But you are welcome to check out these different learning communities on this website here, housing.appstate.edu. Click the Learning Communities tab and you can learn all about the Transfer RLC, Transfer Educators RLC, as well as the Watauga Residential College. So definitely take a look at those. And also for off-campus housing, about 75% of our transfer students do live off campus. And so this is by far the best resource to use, offcampus.appstate.edu. You can search for roommates off campus, subleases, kind of have filter options to be able to search for the type of housing that you're looking for. So definitely feel free to take a look at that as well. And just diving into more of the cost aspect, because housing affects this. So that's why I wanted to talk about that first. So just to cover kind of our cost structure. So Appalachian's definitely one of the most affordable institutions within the UNC system. You can see here that at the top, we're going to start with students that are living off campus. So if you are attending as a main campus student here in Boone, North Carolina, then you are, and you're living off campus, then you're going to be paying for tuition and fees specifically. So as an in-state student, you would be paying about $7,700, and for out of state, it would be about $22,500. And by the way, these are costs for an entire year, so fall and spring semesters together. So cut it in half, and that's what your semester cost is. But that first line is the off-campus cost, and if you happen to get on-campus housing as a transfer student, this is obviously adding in your housing on top of the tuition and fees, as well as a meal plan, which is required for all of our on-campus students. But if you are going to be living on campus as an in-state student, then you're paying about $15,100 for a full year, and then about $29,900 as an out-of-state student for a full year. And then last but not least, I do want to mention before we jump into the online tuition and fees, that the main campus costs that you see here actually include most of your textbooks, because we have a really amazing textbook rental system program here. It's a flat fee each semester that is included in these figures that you see here. And it saved me about $3,500 during the 4 years that I spent here. Cam, has it helped you out a little bit too?
Yes, absolutely. If y'all are transferring, you know that like textbooks can be one of the most expensive parts about being in college, and being able to not even have to worry about it. Like I already have that fee covered, you know, it's in the tuition fees, and just being able to go to the bookstore and be like, where are my books? And they'll just give them to me. And then it's done. Like oh my god, it's amazing. It's honestly great. Like if you remember nothing else about this presentation, remember textbook like rentals, and you'll be happy. That's what I had sold.
Yeah, we are all about this textbook rental system program because it has saved us a number of dollars over the course of our time here. So definitely something to keep in mind. And last but not least, for students that are doing one of our App State online programs, it's actually going to be a cost per credit hour. So however many credit hours that you're taking in a given semester, you'll multiply that by these costs for in-state and out-of-state respectively, about $163 for in-state and $663 for out-of-state. So you'll just multiply your credit hours with that and see what your overall cost will be. All right. And speaking, I know we went over kind of opportunities within housing and how you can get involved in different ways. But Kim, why don't you tell us a little bit about clubs and organizations on campus?
Absolutely. So as you see that big 400 there at the top, we have more than 400 clubs and organizations here on campus. There are clubs and organizations for everything. And if there's something that you want to be in a club for and there's not one for, it's really easy to start. All you need is 10 students and someone who's willing to be your advisor. So there are tons and tons of opportunities for getting involved. We have a bunch of different, you can see as a bunch of different kind of categories. We have lots of sports. We have ones that are focused on giving back to the community, plenty of Greek life opportunities, as well as multicultural and international. So there are also several transfer specific clubs and organizations. So first we have our Tau Sigma Honor Society, which is basically if you were at an NC community college and you were part of Phi Theta Kappa, this is like the university equivalent of that. It's basically the honor society for the transfer students. We also have our Veteran Center and Veterans Organization. So if you're coming, you're coming in with military credit, then those are some great opportunities for you. And then we also have the Transfer Student Organization, which is just kind of like a club for transfer students, and they host events, and they work a lot with Presley and myself through the Office of Transfer Services. And then if you're interested in doing what I do, being a transfer student mentor and kind of helping others through this process, I have really loved it. I've done it for about 2 years now. So there's plenty of opportunities. And then if you don't want to pigeonhole yourself as a transfer student, there's literally like so many clubs and organizations. Since I've been here at App, I've been a part of 3 or 4 other ones other than Transfer Student Mentors, and have enjoyed all of them. I am a part of our Student Government Association. I was in Women of Walker, which is an organization for female business majors. And then I was also in APPS, which is an acronym for Appalachian Popular Programming Society. And they plan events and initiatives and things like that across campus. So that was a really great first organization to be involved in because they were really welcoming. And so yeah, absolutely. So I think that's all I have to say about clubs and organizations. If you have any questions
Perfect.
about it, you can absolutely send those in the Q&A box.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kim. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with all of that. And, you know, this is more, just like Cam said, it's more than just ways to have fun. Like that's definitely a perk, but you're developing so many like leadership skills, personal and professional development opportunities are going to be, you know, incorporated with your experiences. So, and also like when you're looking for jobs after you graduate from App State, you know, they're going to be looking for you to have more than just that piece of paper with your degree on it. They're going to be asking you, you know, what else have you done with your time? Like what experiences can you share? What transferable skills have you acquired? And you can get a number of those through these experiences here. So you can tell I get on my soapbox about clubs and organizations. So moral of the story is you should definitely get involved at whichever institution that you plan to transfer to, because this really will enhance your experience in more ways than you can imagine. All right. And speaking of career paths, we just want to cover a little bit about kind of our career opportunities as well as internships. So I'm going to let Cam tell us a little bit about these as well.
Absolutely. So we have all kinds of career development opportunities. We have several offices on campus that can help you with career development, starting with the career development office. Crazy. Yeah, absolutely. But there are several different offices and stuff on campus. There are also lots of internship and job fairs that are hosted through the university. So each semester we have, I want to say that we have a job fair for internships and part-time jobs, and then we have one for like internships and like career, jobs. Yes. So okay, I was kind of checking with Presley, making sure I was right. So we have that. We also have, there are some academic colleges that host their own in addition to these other two. So I know that as I've said, I'm a business major. The College of Business also hosts an internship and career fair each semester. And so definitely, getting involved in and going to events like these, even if it's just like your first semester here. Like I remember I went to a career fair. It was like my first semester here. I was pretty overwhelmed, but it feels like, if you're transferring in, especially if you're transferring in with an associate's degree, it feels like everything is like on fast forward. And so making sure you jump in and get these opportunities, as soon as you can is definitely a good idea, even if it feels a little overwhelming at first. But there's all kinds of opportunities here. That's one of my favorite things about the school, is that it has the community feeling of, a small school, but it has the opportunities of a big school. And that is absolutely one of my favorite things, because, the ultimate goal in getting a college degree is having a career, right? So, making sure that you're focusing on academics and being in clubs and organizations and having the time of your life, but also trying to focus on that end goal of getting a career is something that they definitely help you with here.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Cam. Awesome. And so as promised, I'm going to share with you some of those transfer advising resources as you're making your transition to App State. So just to quickly cover these, you can find these on our transfer website down here at the bottom, go figure, transfer.appstate.edu. But we've got some really cool tools on here for you. So first of all, there's a course equivalency search. So that means that you can go on that site. It's right there on the homepage, so you can't miss it. So there's the course equivalency search tool where you can search to see if your credits that you've already completed are transferable to App State. If your in progress courses are transferable to App State, you can look at all of those up there. For any maybe out-of-state students, there could be the potential of maybe not having as many of those out-of-state institution coursework kind of classes on there. So if you ever want or need a little bit of help with determining how many transferable credit hours that you have, our team is happy to do a preliminary credit evaluation for you. So if the course equivalency search isn't working out for you, maybe as an out-of-state student, if you happen to be in that situation where maybe we haven't had as many transfer students transfer from your institution in the past, just email us your unofficial transcripts and we're happy to look through that for you. But otherwise, the course equivalency search should have everything that you're looking for transferable coursework. And just keep in mind that the only transferable courses that can actually transfer are those in which you've received a C or better in the class. So it is grade specific as well. Also, we've got some great resources to help you as you're choosing your college coursework for your next semester potentially. So say that you're joining us in fall 2021 and you're trying to figure out, okay, am I taking the right classes in the spring semester to make sure that they all go most appropriately with your intended major at App State. So we have pre-transfer advising session, video chats that you can join us on. We also have just general transfer admission video chats. So either one of those, we're going to be able to help you with choosing your coursework. Also, speaking of choosing coursework, the transfer guides, if you're specifically attending a North Carolina community college, these are going to save you some big time with planning because it's all listed right there. These transfer guides, there is a single transfer guide for every single program that we have at App State. So there's about 161 total since we have our main campus programs and our App State Online programs. So those transfer guides are going to spell out exactly what the most appropriate transferable coursework is for your intended major. It'll also give you really clear guidance as to when you should transfer and what would be in your best interest to consider as you're planning to transfer to App State. So just make sure to take a look at all of these resources on our transfer.appstate.edu website.
And take advantage of those things early because I don't know about y'all, but I was kind of waiting until the last minute. And so I know that had I been paying a little bit more attention to things like that, to those transfer equivalency guides a little bit earlier, I might have been able to like save myself a semester. So keep those things in mind while you're taking classes at your community college or wherever you are now. If you're at a community college here in North Carolina and you're trying to kind of figure out what you're taking in the spring, if you want to take summer classes, anything like that, those guides will save you.
Definitely. Yeah, they're huge help. And I know that we mentioned that those are specific to North Carolina community college students, but if you're out of state, like we mentioned before, reach out to our office. We have transfer advisors available to help you choose your coursework. For out of state students, we specifically have our lead transfer advisor. Her name is Beth Watts, and she is a total expert, a huge help to our students. So if you are out of state, definitely reach out to her. But you can reach out to our office as a whole with this contact information here. And Cam kind of described our transfer student mentor organization earlier, but these are our 21 transfer student mentors. So they are available to you to reach out. So Cam, where can they find the contact information for our transfer student mentors?
Yeah, absolutely. So like she said, this is all of us. I'm there almost on the top 3 from the left. But if you go to transfer.appstate.edu, there's some tabs there up at the top or maybe on the left side. But if you find the tab that says student mentors, then you find contact information for all of us, kind of a brief description about all of us as well. So if maybe you have kind of a special situation and you're looking for advice from someone who was in a similar situation, then you can kind of, read about each of us and see if there's someone that was maybe in a similar situation as you are. And you can find all of our email addresses there. If you have questions, you want to chat, you want to know what student life is like here, or you're not really sure how to proceed with something, then you can absolutely email any of us. So yeah, that's absolutely how you can get in contact. So I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, we have some great people, including Cam in this organization. So they're definitely just here for every stage of your process. So definitely reach out to them. And also you'll see that we have our admissions website down here at the bottom. So if you click on the visit tab on the admissions website, you'll see that we offer a ton of different virtual opportunities right now. We have Ask an App student panels every Thursday where you can just ask your questions, like for a panel of current students, including one of our transfer student mentors. We have those video chats that you can schedule, weekly transfer information sessions, admitted student sessions. There's a lot there, to say the least. So you can take a look on that website there. Also follow us on social media, but we really hope to hear from all of you. But I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen. And if anybody has any questions for us, we're happy to talk through those. And thank you to Sam for taking care of the questions so far. But any ones that we're looking at currently, I know we have about 5 minutes left, so I'm happy to answer any others. No worries at all. Well, we will, and Justin, you might be able to shed a little bit more light on this, but we are happy to stay until, for the next 5 minutes. We're happy to answer questions if you think of them. So whatever works best for y'all, but you know where to find us even if you think of them later. So just let us know.
And just so it won't be so awkward, we don't have to wait here for 5 minutes for questions. So it won't be awkward. But everyone definitely please remember that contact information if you all have any additional questions. Really quickly before this is over, when we end this webinar, you will see a quick survey that pop up. It's 4 questions, very quick. Please, if you don't mind, answer that, give us some feedback, let us know how can we improve in some shape or form. Just remember that in about a week, this session will be available for you to rewatch. All of our sessions are recorded. You can find all of them at CACRAO.org. And if you're interested in this, for sign up for any more sessions, learn about some more awesome universities here in North Carolina and South Carolina, you can find it all at www.cacrao.org. Besides that, we all hope everyone has a great day, and thank you so much.
Thank
Oh,
you.
it's a question now. I'm sorry. It's a question now. You want to answer it?
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. What kind of graduate degree programs do we have? So there are a number of different ones that are available, but you are welcome to check those out at graduate.appstate.edu, and also take a look at some of those accelerated admission programs. There's a link for that on the graduate website as well, where it'll show you all of the participating programs for accelerated admission. So definitely feel free to check that out, but you'll see all of our programs right there. And also you can view all of the programs, both undergraduate, minors, graduate programs, doctorate programs at appstate.edu/academics as well. So feel free to check that out. But thanks for the question. You're welcome. Thanks for the question, Parker. Hope you have a great one.
Cool. They were good now. You all have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Justin. Have a great day. Thank y'all.